The night over Earth was calm at first. Stars glowed faintly above the blue world, and people on the surface went about their normal lives. But that calm was only the silence before a storm that no one could imagine. Far beyond the moon, something vast began to stir. Hidden in the blackness of space, a fleet larger than anything humanity had ever seen slowly emerged. The alien king's fleet had come. At first, they looked like distant shadows, small specks moving against the stars. But as they drew closer, their size became terrifyingly clear. These were not simple ships. They were massive floating fortresses, black and silver in color, shaped like blades and claws, designed to inspire fear even before they fired a weapon. Thousands of them advanced, covering the emptiness of space like a moving wall. The lead ship dwarfed them all, so large that its shadow alone could have swallowed a city. This was the flagship of the alien king, the ruler of a warlike empire that had crushed countless civilizations across the galaxy. On Earth, the first signs of their arrival were not seen with eyes but on screens. Scientists and astronomers stared in shock as their monitors lit up with impossible readings. Object detected, the system said again and again until the words lost meaning. The data was unbelievable. The fleet was so large that Earth's satellites could barely map it. People in control rooms froze in silence, their hands shaking as they realized what the numbers meant. Panic spread quickly. News networks interrupted their regular programs, flashing warnings across every screen. Some called it an invasion. Others called it the end of the world. For the ordinary person sitting at home, it was unreal, until they stepped outside and saw the skies changing. The alien ships began to appear in orbit, their sharp forms glowing with an eerie light as they blocked out the stars. From the ground, they looked like scars across the heavens. Entire cities stopped moving. Cars halted on highways, people left their homes, and children clung to their parents. All eyes turned upward, staring at the impossible sight of alien warships filling the night sky. In the United Nations emergency chamber, world leaders argued in fear. Some wanted to surrender immediately, convinced resistance would mean extinction. Others demanded preparation for war, their voices sharp with desperation. Military commanders shouted over each other, pointing at the live feeds of alien ships assembling above. But deep down, every single person in that room felt the same terror. Earth was defenseless. Humanity had fought wars against itself for centuries, but nothing had prepared them for this. Inside the alien flagship, the alien king sat upon a throne of black steel. His body was covered in armor that seemed grown from his own flesh, and his golden eyes glowed with cruel confidence. To him, Earth was nothing more than another planet to be erased, another people to be enslaved. His empire stretched across hundreds of systems. He had destroyed worlds far stronger than Earth. He did not come to negotiate. He came to conquer. "Begin the march," he ordered in a voice like thunder. His generals bowed, and the fleet shifted formation, preparing to descend further into Earth's orbit. On Earth, the effect was immediate. Satellites blinked out one by one, their signals crushed by alien interference. Communication networks trembled and died. Global defense systems went blind. Cities that once glowed with electric life now felt the weight of a silence that was more frightening than any sound. People waited helpless, wondering if the first blast would fall upon them. The first act of the fleet was not to destroy, but to demonstrate power. The alien warships released pulses of energy that rolled across the sky like tidal waves. Airplanes fell from the air. Power grids shut down. Lights across entire continents went dark. Humanity had entered a nightmare, yet amid the fear, rumors began to spread. In whispers, in hidden rooms, in voices that trembled with both hope and doubt. Some spoke of a secret project, something that had been hidden deep within Earth, something built for a day like this. No one knew if it was real, but the hope was enough for some to cling to. Children asked their parents if the aliens would kill them. Parents held their children tighter but had no answers. Soldiers loaded their weapons, knowing in their hearts those weapons were useless against such a fleet. And in the shadows, in underground bases that no one knew existed, a handful of people prepared for something greater. Above all, the alien king waited. He had crushed civilizations before. He enjoyed the silence before the destruction, the way fear spread faster than fire. To him, Earth was already his. He did not know and could not imagine that humanity was unlike any enemy he had ever faced. The sky remained heavy with alien steel. People stared, waiting for the fire to fall. The world held its breath, and somewhere, deep beneath the ground, the first hum of a machine long kept secret began to stir. The world had never been so united in fear. Across every continent, the sound of sirens wailed through the night. From skyscrapers in New York to the crowded streets of Mumbai, from villages in Africa to icy bases in Antarctica, the reaction was the same: panic, disbelief, and despair. Humanity looked up and saw not the stars but the silhouettes of ships that blotted out the heavens. Governments struggled to maintain control. Emergency broadcasts flashed on every remaining screen, urging calm, but calm was impossible. Families packed their cars and tried to flee cities, jamming the highways until no vehicle could move. In underground shelters, people huddled together, listening for sounds above, waiting for the first blast from the alien fleet. Inside the United Nations command chamber, leaders sat in a circle of glowing screens. Their faces were pale, voices trembling, yet they argued as if their words alone could hold back the threat. One leader slammed his fist against the table. "We must surrender before it is too late. These creatures are too strong." Another leader shouted back, his voice breaking with desperation. "Surrender means slavery. Do you want our children chained to alien masters? Do you want Earth erased from history?" The debate raged on, but every person in that room knew a bitter truth. Earth's armies, Earth's ships, Earth's weapons, all of them combined were nothing compared to the alien king's fleet. Humanity had weapons that could destroy cities, but the enemy had weapons that could erase worlds. Military commanders worked without rest, their eyes glued to satellite images before the signals went dark. They gave orders to move fighter jets, to ready missiles, to launch nuclear warheads if needed. But in their hearts, even the bravest knew these were gestures of defiance, not strategies of victory. It was like preparing a bow and arrow against a storm of fire. Ordinary people did not see the arguments or the maps. They only felt the silence pressing down on their homes. In a small house, a mother held her child close as the sky glowed with strange alien lights. In another, a boy asked his grandfather why the stars were gone. On the streets, men and women prayed out loud, voices shaking, while others stood frozen in shock, unable to speak. Yet in secret places, something else was happening. In an old military base hidden deep inside a mountain, a group of scientists and soldiers stood before a single colossal structure. It did not look like any normal human warship. Its form was strange, its surface alive with lines that glowed faintly, pulsing like veins. The project had been called impossible, a dream too wild to finish. But it had been built in silence and secrecy, with the hope that one day Earth might need it. That day had come. The commander of the base, an older man with scars across his face, spoke quietly as he looked at the ship. "They will not expect this. They will think we are weak. That mistake will cost them." The scientists around him said nothing, but their eyes revealed the weight of what was about to happen. They had spent years building something they themselves did not fully understand. The ship was not just technology. It carried something deeper, something born from the human will to survive. Some called it madness, others called it hope. Whatever it was Earth's only chance. Meanwhile, in orbit, the alien king watched Earth with amusement. His golden eyes glowed brighter as his fleet tightened its hold. He saw the fear in the humans, the chaos, the broken systems. To him, it was a familiar picture. He had seen it on dozens of worlds before this one. First came fear, then came silence, then came fire. "Prepare the first strike," he ordered. His voice echoed through the command chamber of his flagship. His generals, creatures armored in silver bone, bowed deeply and moved to obey. But just as they prepared to unleash destruction, something unexpected stirred in the dark void of space. One of the alien king's lieutenants frowned. "My lord, sensors detect an anomaly," he reported. The alien king turned his gaze to the screen. At first it was nothing but static. Then, through the static, a shadow began to form. It was small compared to his fleet, yet there was something about it that felt wrong. It did not move like a ship. It glowed faintly with energy that no alien sensor could explain. The alien king narrowed his eyes. "Let it come. Crush it when it dares to rise." On Earth, the hidden base shook as alarms rang out. Power flowed into the strange warship. Lights flickered on its surface, lines of blue fire racing across its skin. The ground trembled as engines deep beneath the mountain roared to life. Scientists covered their ears. Soldiers tightened their grips on weapons, and the commander whispered under his breath, "Rise, Titan, show them what humanity is." The ground above cracked. Dust rained down. Slowly, impossibly, the ship began to lift. Its form broke free from the mountain, rising into the night sky, leaving a trail of burning light behind it. People across the world looked up and gasped as they saw it. A warship unlike anything they had ever known, shaped not by fear but by defiance. For the first time since the alien king's fleet arrived, hope flickered. It was fragile, small but real. Humanity was not finished. The alien king leaned forward on his throne, his cruel smile vanishing. He felt something he had not felt in centuries: curiosity and a faint trace of unease. The war was about to begin. The warship rose higher and higher, tearing free from the mountain that had hidden it for so long. The ground shook as debris rained down, and the night sky glowed with blue fire. People on every continent turned their faces upward, their eyes wide in disbelief. It was not a normal ship. Its surface looked alive, almost breathing, as veins of light ran across its body. Where other machines were cold and metal, this one seemed to carry a strange heartbeat. The world watched in silence. Some prayed. Others cried. Soldiers stood straighter, gripping their rifles even though they knew those rifles meant nothing against what floated above them. For the first time since the alien fleet arrived, humanity felt something other than fear. They felt the first spark of defiance. High above Earth, the alien king's fleet closed ranks. His generals sneered as the lone human warship emerged into orbit. Compared to their armada of thousands, the human vessel looked small, fragile, like an insect daring to face a storm. One alien commander barked a laugh. "Is this their defense? A single ship? They mock us," but the alien king did not laugh. His golden eyes narrowed, studying the strange vessel. It glowed with energy that did not belong to any known technology. It moved with unnatural grace, adjusting itself as though it sensed the weight of the eyes upon it. For the first time, he hesitated. He did not show it, but inside something unsettled him. "Test it," he ordered coldly. At once, a squadron of alien warships broke away from the fleet, black predators streaking toward the lone human vessel. Their weapons lit up, spears of red light forming at their cannons. The void of space trembled as the first barrage was fired. On Earth, billions watched as streaks of fire rained down toward the human warship. News broadcasts screamed of destruction. People clutched each other in terror, and children buried their faces in their parents' arms. The world braced for the end. But then something impossible happened. The human warship moved. It did not dodge like a normal ship. It flowed, twisted and slipped through the storm of fire as if the laws of physics bent around it. Where light should have struck metal, there was only empty space. Where destruction should have fallen, the ship was already gone. It was as though it knew the attacks before they came. Gasps echoed across Earth. Soldiers in bunkers cheered. Scientists stared at their screens, unable to explain what they saw. The warship spun, its glowing veins pulsing brighter. And then, with a single burst of light, it struck back. From its core, a beam erupted, neither missile nor laser, but something raw, something that looked like pure energy ripped from the bones of the Earth itself. It shot through space, slicing one alien ship clean in half. There was no explosion, no fire. The ship simply ceased to exist, erased in a flash of white. The alien squadron faltered. Their laughter vanished. Panic spread through their ranks as the human warship moved again, striking another vessel and then another. In less than a minute, 3 alien warships had been destroyed, their wreckage drifting silently into the void. On the surface, Earth roared with hope. People screamed in joy, their voices echoing across cities and shelters. For the first time, they saw blood drawn from the invincible invaders. They saw that humanity was not powerless. Inside the flagship, the alien king's hand tightened on the arm of his throne. His generals shifted nervously, their confidence cracking. He had expected resistance, yes, but not this. Not a single warship capable of annihilating his forces so quickly. "What is that thing?" one general whispered. The alien king's golden eyes burned with anger. "It is nothing," he growled. "Crush it. Send more." At his command, dozens of ships broke formation surrounding the human vessel. Their weapons glowed, ready to strike again. The lone warship pulsed brighter, almost as if it heard the challenge. Inside its crew, scientists, soldiers, and the scarred commander watched silently. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, but not a single person wavered. The commander's voice was steady, calm, carrying the weight of all humanity. We hold the line. No matter the cost, the alien fleet fired. Space itself seemed to scream under the barrage. Entire regions of the sky lit up with red and silver fire. It should have been the end. No machine could endure such an attack. But the human warship was no ordinary machine. It twisted, spun, and danced through the storm. Energy shields rippled across its skin, bending the fire away. Where it was struck, its glowing veins flared brighter, as if the damage only made it stronger. Then, with a roar of light, it struck back again. Alien ships exploded in silence, their debris scattering like shattered glass. One by one, they fell, until the squadron that had once mocked Earth was reduced to burning fragments. The people of Earth cried out in disbelief and triumph. Soldiers cheered. Families hugged and sobbed. Hope spread like fire, faster than fear had ever spread. But in the flagship, the alien king stood. His smile was gone. His eyes glowed with fury. He realized now that Earth was different. Humanity was different. Their weakness was only a mask. Beneath it lay something the galaxy had never seen. "This will not stand," he roared. His voice shook the walls of the command chamber. "If they dare to defy me, then I will erase their world myself." The human warship floated in silence, its glow burning against the blackness. Alone, small, fragile, and yet undefeated, the first clash was over. Humanity had struck back, but the true war was only beginning. The wreckage of alien ships still drifted in the void, glowing faintly against the stars. Their broken forms reflected the impossible truth. Humanity had destroyed them. Across Earth, people could hardly believe it. Children pointed at the skies with wide eyes. Old men whispered prayers of thanks, and soldiers pressed their foreheads to the cold metal of their weapons, whispering one word again and again: hope. But inside Earth's secret mountain base, where the warship had been born, the atmosphere was heavier. The scientists and engineers stood in silence, their eyes fixed on the live feed of the ship as it floated in orbit. They knew what the world did not. They knew that the warship was not just a machine. The commander of the base, his scarred face lit by the pale glow of the monitors, leaned forward. "It holds," he murmured, as though speaking to himself. "But for how long?" One of the scientists, a woman whose hands shook with both fear and pride, answered softly, "It will hold as long as we believe it can." To the outside world, this ship seemed like an advanced weapon hidden by governments. But the truth was stranger. The warship was not the product of one nation, nor of one group. It was the work of desperate minds, outcasts, dreamers, and those who had long been ignored. Years ago, when humanity feared an invasion it could not prevent, a group of scientists had gone deep into the earth to seek something forgotten. They had found it, buried deep beneath ancient rock, in caverns untouched for thousands of years. They had discovered strange crystals glowing with blue fire. No one knew their origin. Some claimed they were remnants of an older civilization, one erased from memory. Others believed they were pieces of the earth itself, born from the planet's own fury and resilience. Whatever they were, they pulsed with energy that defied every law of physics. At first, the crystals killed those who tried to harness them. Machines burned out, circuits melted, and even the strongest metals cracked under their force. But the scientists did not stop. They adapted, learned, and began to weave the energy not into circuits but into living systems. The ship was built not as a tool of war, but as a mirror of humanity's own survival instinct. That was why it moved like it was alive. That was why it could see attacks before they landed. It was not only technology, it was human spirit shaped into steel and fire. The commander remembered the day it was finished. The ship had pulsed like a heartbeat as though it were waiting. And he had whispered to his soldiers, "This is not our weapon. This is our will." Now that will face the greatest empire in the galaxy. In orbit, the alien king's fury shook his throne room. His golden eyes blazed as he watched the glowing human ship drift calmly among the stars. Dozens of his vessels had been destroyed. His generals knelt before him, trembling. "My king," one of them began, his voice trembling. "This ship, it is no ordinary craft. We cannot read its energy. It defies—" "Silence!" the alien king thundered. His armored hand struck the floor, sending a ripple of sound through the chamber. "Do you think I do not see? Do you think I do not know what this is?" He rose to his full height, his body towering above his generals. "This is a challenge, and I do not accept challenges. I crush them." He stepped closer to the viewing screen, staring at the glowing human vessel. For the first time, his cruel smile was gone. He did not fear. He had forgotten the meaning of fear, but he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Uncertainty. "Send the fleet," he ordered. "All of it. I will burn their world to ash." The generals bowed, their voices echoing in unison. "Yes, my king." And so the alien armada began to shift. Thousands of ships moved into new formations, surrounding Earth like a tightening noose. The night sky above the planet grew darker, filled not with stars but with the shadows of warships preparing to strike. On Earth, terror returned. Crowds that had cheered moments before fell silent as new broadcasts revealed the fleet's movements. Soldiers prayed silently in their bunkers. Families clung to each other once more. Even as hope flickered, fear spread like fire. But in the hidden base, the commander stood tall. His voice was steady as he addressed his crew. "The king is coming," he said, "and when he does, we will show him the truth." The warship, floating in silence above Earth, pulsed with brighter light. Its glowing veins shimmered as though it could hear the voices of every human heart beating below. It was not just steel. It was not just power. It was the story of a species that had survived ice ages, wars, plagues, and endless struggles. It was the reflection of humanity itself. The alien king believed he was facing a machine. What he did not understand was that he was facing all of Earth. The fleet drew closer. The sky darkened further. The true battle had yet to begin, and the secret that humanity had hidden in the veins of its warship was about to be revealed. The skies above Earth were no longer skies. They were oceans of black steel, filled with the endless forms of alien warships. Thousands upon thousands moved as one, each vessel bristling with weapons designed to erase planets. To the people on the ground, it looked like the heavens themselves had turned against them. The stars were gone, swallowed by an empire that had crushed countless civilizations before this night. At the center of it all, the alien king's flagship descended, larger than a continent, glowing with golden light. Its shadow alone darkened half the planet. Inside his throne chamber, the alien king stood tall, his armored body gleaming as he raised his hand. His voice rumbled across the chamber, filled with command and certainty. "This ends now. Burn their world. Leave nothing but silence." The order spread like fire through the fleet. Cannons locked onto Earth. Energy swelled, bright and endless, ready to fall upon the planet and end humanity's story forever. But then, the lone human warship pulsed. Its body glowed brighter, veins of blue light shining so fiercely that even those on the ground could see it cutting across the night sky. The world fell into silence. Every heart beat faster. Soldiers, scientists, children, leaders, every human on Earth fixed their eyes on that single ship. It was small, fragile, and alone, yet it carried the weight of them all. Inside, the commander stood on the deck, staring at the flood of enemy ships closing in. His scarred face was calm, his voice steady as he spoke to his crew. "They are countless, but we are humanity. We do not count numbers. We fight because we must." The crew nodded, their hands steady on the controls. They were not many, but in that moment they felt the strength of billions behind them. The ship pulsed again, brighter still, as if it drew power from the hope of the world. The alien king's fleet fired. The sky tore open. Rivers of fire streaked downward, endless beams of energy crashing toward the planet. The earth trembled, oceans boiled, and the atmosphere lit up with blinding light. It should have been the end. But the human warship moved. It rose like a blade of light, intercepting the storm. Its glowing shields flared to life, bending, twisting, and devouring the alien fire. What should have shattered it only made it blaze brighter. The ship cut through the chaos like a predator through waves, striking back with bursts of energy that erased alien vessels one after another. Alien ships exploded silently in the void, their wreckage scattering like dust. For every human strike, 10 enemy ships fell. Yet for every 10 destroyed, 100 more advanced. The void became a graveyard of burning steel, a dance of destruction that shook the universe. Still, the warship did not falter. Its movements were too precise, too alive, as though it already knew the path it must take. On Earth, people watched and whispered the same thought. It was not only a ship. It was humanity itself. Inside his flagship, the alien king roared. His golden eyes burned with rage as his fleet fell apart before him. "Enough!" he thundered. "If the galaxy must remember one thing, let it remember this: I do not lose." He raised his hand, and his own flagship prepared its ultimate weapon. From its core, a sphere of golden fire grew, so vast it dwarfed mountains, a weapon meant to erase entire planets in one stroke. The human warship turned, facing the giant fortress. Its glow steadied, its veins shining as though it understood. The commander placed his hand on the console, whispering words no one else could hear. "This is for all of us. For every child, for every dream, for every life." The ship answered with a pulse of light, brighter than anything seen before. The glow spread across its entire body until it looked less like a vessel and more like a star about to be born. The alien king's weapon fired. A golden storm screamed across space, wide enough to erase the Earth itself. The human warship answered. From its heart, it released everything: its energy, its strength, its spirit. A beam of pure white light erupted, cutting through the darkness like dawn-breaking night. It struck the alien king's golden storm, and for a moment, the universe itself seemed to pause. The clash shook the void. Light against light, power against power. The golden wave screamed forward, but the white light pushed back, brighter, stronger, burning with something no empire could create: human will. And then, the impossible happened. The golden storm shattered. The white light pierced through, striking the alien king's flagship at its core. There was no explosion. There was only silence, followed by a flash so blinding it turned night into day. When the light faded, the flagship was gone. Not broken, not burning, gone as if it had never existed. The alien king, the ruler who had crushed countless worlds, was erased in an instant. The fleet around him trembled. Without their king, they faltered. Ships drifted, their formations breaking apart. Some fled. Others simply shut down, their crews paralyzed by shock and fear. The empire that had come to erase Earth was itself erased by a single act of defiance. On Earth, silence lasted only a moment. Then it broke into cries, cheers, and tears. People screamed with joy, holding one another, their voices rising into the night. Soldiers pounded their fists against the ground, weeping openly. Parents lifted their children high, telling them to remember this day. Humanity had not only survived, it had won. The warship floated in silence, its glow dimming, its energy fading. Inside, the crew sat quietly, exhausted, yet their hearts burned with pride. They had faced the impossible and stood unbroken. The commander looked at the fading stars and whispered softly, "Let the galaxy remember. We are not prey. We are not weak. We are humanity." And for the first time in history, the galaxy would never forget.